Genesis 25. And Abraham took another wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimrah, and Joksha, and Medan, and Midian, and Isabak, and Shua, and Josa begat Sheba, and Dida, and the son of Dida were Ashimra, and Lethimisha, and Limiman, and the sons of Medida, Ephah, and Ephraim, and Hanoch, and Ibada, and Elda. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac, but unto the sons of the concubines that Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and he sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 160 and 15 years. And Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, and an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And Isaac and Ishmael his sons buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron the son of Zohar the Hittites, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased of the children of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed Isaac his son, and Isaac dwelt by Beer-lahai-roi. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's sons, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to their generation. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebioti, and Kendar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishama, and Duma, and Masa, Hada, and Tama, Jutir, Napish, and Kedima. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their village and by their encampment, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, and they dwelt from Havilah into Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest towards Assyria. He Obadi over against all his brethren. And these are the generation of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian, to be his wife. And Isaac entered Jehovah for his wife, because she was barren. And Jehovah was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, wherefore do I live? And she went to inquire of Jehovah, and Jehovah said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 people shall be separated from thy bowel. And the one shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came forth red all over like a harrier garment, and they called his name Esul. And after that came forth his brother, and his hand had hold on to Esul's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years when she bared them. Isaac was 60 years old when she bared them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Now Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his vensil, and Rebekah loved Jacob, and Jacob boiled pottage. And Esau came in from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me first thy birthrights. And Esau said, Behold, I am about to die, and what profit shall the birthrights do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me first. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthrights unto Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did not And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. So Saul despised his birthrights. Genesis 25 is a hinge chapter. It's closest Abraham's life. It shows God's faithfulness to Ismail and then opens up the next covenant era with Isaac, where the promise advances through a complicated family, a barren womb, and a shocking reversal. The elder will serve the younger. Here's what God is saying through the chapter. Abraham later children, God's blessing is wide, but the covenant line is specific. Genesis 25, verse 1 through 6. Abraham marries Keturah and has more sons. The text is doing two things at once. God truly blessed Abraham in all things. Genesis 24 verse 1. His life is fruitful beyond Isaac's. The covenant inheritance is not whoever is biological Abraham's. It is specific. Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. Then unto the sons of the concubines he gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac. The separation is not cruelty, it's covenant clarity. Genesis is guarding the promised line from internal rivalry and fragmentation. What God is saying, my blessing can overflow widely, but my redemptive covenant moves through a chosen line. Giftness is broad, covenant inheritance is focused. Abraham dies full of years. The promise carries him through, even without seeing all of it. Genesis 25, verse 7 through 11, died full of years, gathered to his people. This is the Bible way of saying Abraham's life had a kind of wholeness, not because everything was easy, but because his story ended inside God's covenant friendship. Then a striking scene, Isaac and Ismail buried him. After years of tension and separation, the sons came together at the grave. That doesn't erase the past, but it's a single something profound. God's providence can keep mercy lines open even in fractural families. And immediately God's blessed Isaac. The covenant doesn't die with Abraham. God continues it personally. What God is saying, my promise outlives you. You are a steward, not the end point, and I can bring reconciliation moments even after long division. Ismail genealogy. God keeps his word to the known covenant son too. Genesis 25, verse 12 through 18. Ismail's line is listed with honor, names, sons, tribal sentiments, and the key fulfillment. 12 princes. That is God's keeping what he promised earlier. Genesis 17, verse 20. Ismail is not the covenant heir, but he is not abandoned. The geographic note from Havilah unto Sur shows he becomes a real people with real territory in the line. He abode over against all his Bethel. Echoes the earlier prophecies about Ismail. Relationship with surrounding king, close tension, distinction. What God is saying, I am faithful even beyond the central covenant line. My commitments are disposable. Ismail and Rebekah barrenness. The promise advances by grace, not by nature. Genesis 25, verse 19 to 21. Rebekah was barren. Isaac entreated Jehovah, and Jehovah was entreated. This is a repeated Genesis pattern. Sarah barren, then Rebekah barren, later Rachel barren. God is teaching that the covenant people are not produced by mere by mere biology. They are produced by divine gifts. Notice Isaac doesn't engineer a workaround like Abraham did with Hagar. He prays that growth across generations. The covenant line is learning resilience. What God is saying, my promise is not humanly guaranteed. It is granted. Learn to ask, not to manipulate. The struggle in the womb, divine oracle. History begins before birth. Genesis 25, verse 22 through 23. Rebekah feels turmoil and asks God, if it be so, wherefore do I live? God answers with a prophetic interpretation. Two nations, the elder shall serve the younger. This is one of Genesis' biggest theological themes. God's election overturns normal human ranks in the ancient world. The firstborn has the right, status, inheritance. God says, not here. Why? Why? Not because God likes unfairness, but because He's revealing consistent covenant principle. The promise is not earned by position, not secured by human customs, not determined by natural advantage, but carried forward by God's free purpose. What God is saying, my kingdom reverses human status games. I choose in a way that exposes grace. Esau and Jacob contrasting lights, appetite versus patience, field versus tent. Genesis 25, verse 24 through 28. Esau was reared, hairy, a hunter, man of the field. Jacob is quiet, dwelling in the tents, the settled, pastoral life. Then the family fracture begins. Isaac loved Esau, Rebekah loved Jacob. This is suitable but devastating. Favoritism becomes the soil for manipulation, rivalry, and deception later. Genesis is showing the human mess inside the covenant family. God works through it, but it's still damaging. What God is saying, don't confuse covenant family with healthy family. I can work through brokenness, but favoritism still wounds. The birthright sells. Esau despises what is holy. Jacob wants it, but seeks it wrongly. Genesis 25, verse 29 through 34. Esau comes exhausted and wanted the red stew. Jacob says, sell me first thy birthrights. Esau replies, I am about to die. What profits? Then the narrative verdicts. So Esau despises birthrights. The deepest sin here isn't hunger, it's contempt for covenant privilege. The birthright isn't just extra money, it's participation in the Abrahamic promised line, the spiritual inheritance. Esau treats the scared sacred as negotiable for immediate appetite, but Jacob isn't righteous yet. Jacob values the birthright, good instant, but he grasped it through opportunism. The story is setting up the paradox. The chosen line will go through Jacob, but Jacob must be transformed from a grasping, heel-grabbing into a man who depends on God. What God is saying, don't trade internal inheritance for immediate cravings, and don't try to secure spiritual destiny through manipulation. Trust my word, don't grasp. The main message of Genesis 25 in one sentence. God closes Abraham's story with covenant clarity and faithful blessings beyond the covenant line, then advances the promise through Isaac by grace. Barrenness overcomes by prayer and announces a radical reversal. Elders serve younger, exposing too hard posture. Esau contempt for the sacred, and Jacob flawed but real desire for the promise, showing that God's covenant moves forward by divine choices and transforming grace, not by human rank or appetite. Genesis 25.